Hey guys, Mr. Elting with you, here to help you on your homework tonight. Just wanted to give you a couple tips and fill in some things we really didn't get to talk about in class. The first thing I wanted to talk about is that when you add polynomials and when you subtract polynomials, there's an important difference. So I'm just going to give you the answers here for the first two. You're going to keep the signs the same whenever you add. But when you subtract, it's important to actually reverse or switch the signs. So to give you an example of this, I'm going to scroll down here to number 8. You have these two trinomial expressions. They're already simplified, so we just need to subtract the two. And the temptation here is just to look at it and in my head kind of do the following. Okay, 4x squared minus 3x squared is, x squared, and then I have negative 3x plus 4x, which is plus x, and then I have 12, and minus 5, which is 7. And the reality is this is dead wrong. My answer is so wrong because I forgot to reverse my signs. When I go ahead and do this, particularly right here with my second two pairs of like terms, I have not actually subtracted them. In doing what I've done, I've actually added them. And it gets a little confusing when we start talking about adding things that are already negative and subtracting things that are negative. But the basic idea here is if I use the hamburger method, which just involves moving this entire expression underneath the first polynomial, I just need to copy each thing underneath its like term. So 3x squared goes with 4x squared, 4x goes with 3x, and 5 goes with 12. And now I'm going to do the signs second. And the signs are really easy. I'm going to steal the signs from each term here, but since I am subtracting, I am going to reverse each one. So this 3x squared does become minus because it was positive in the first place. The plus 4 does become minus 4x because I'm subtracting it, and it was plus before. The minus 5 actually becomes plus 5 because I am subtracting a negative. Another way to look at this is I'm kind of like distributing the negative to each one of my signs, which in essence reverses them. If you understand why we're doing that, great. If not, just do it and trust it, because from this point out, it's a pretty easy problem. 4x squared minus 3x squared is positive x squared. Negative 3x minus 4x, I'm getting more negative, so that's negative 7x. And then 12 plus 5 is obviously 17. Not a super difficult problem. And if I've done all of that right, which I know I have, I'm going to go ahead and box up my answer. Awesome. I've got it. The only way you're going to mess these up is potentially by saying that something's alike and it's not. So for example, in number 7, just going back to problem, you might be tempted to say here that we can combine these and get negative y squared or negative y. But unfortunately, you got to remember that it's the exponent and the variable that counts. So you're going to have to look across here and do some work for finding like terms. Just to highlight a few for you. This is another strategy for identifying like terms. You can kind of use common symbols. And then again, I would encourage you to rewrite things using their signs like so. And you notice that I'm actually adding to multiple things, and that's okay. In the end, you'll get it. So there's a start for 7. I've shown you 8. Hopefully that gets you a good way through this. Make sure you simplify before you add or subtract. That'll make your life a little bit easier. Otherwise, best of luck on this. I know you'll do just fine. Thank you, guys.